What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode on the Piscifun YouTube channel. Today's episode is going to be awesome. We're out chasing bass and we're going to show you tips and tricks on how to catch bass in the springtime using tubes. Tubes are a very well-known bait, but there's a lot of different ways to fish them, and today we're going to show you how. There's a lot of different ways you can rig a tube. As you see here, we have a standard tube jig head. Now, the cool thing about a tube jig head is depending on where that eyelet sits in the tube, you can actually change the fall rate of the tube. So if I want to change this, I can take the head, slide it back a little bit in the tube, poke it back through, and now this will have more of a circling fall on the cast rather than a straight fall. Sometimes making that circling fall will trigger bites that you may have never gotten had you not changed it. All right, guys, so we talked about fishing a tube. When it comes to fishing a tube, I like to use a 6'8" to a 7-foot rod. That fast action in a rod like this, or an extra fast action, allows that fish to get that bait, but gives you enough backbone right away to stick the fish. Personally, I like the 6'8" medium light from Piscifun, and this one I've got paired with a Honor XT 2000. A good fast gear ratio is nice because when you hook fish on a tube, generally they want to run for the boat, and that gear ratio will help you keep up with them. So when I'm going out and I'm fishing a tube, generally I'm fishing this in areas of rock, right? Generally I'm looking for smallmouth with a tube. That being said, you can also catch largemouth as well. Now there's a couple of different retrieves that I find to be extremely effective when I'm using a tube. The first is very simple. It's just a simple drag. Now you can drag upward and that will kind of keep you out of the rocks a little bit. So it depends how snaggy the area that you're in is. Or you can drag to the side, and this will give you a little bit better bottom contact. So bottom contact is usually extremely important because you're trying to imitate a crayfish here. And so if you want to imitate a crayfish, you can even do this. Twitch, twitch, and then drag. And so basically what that imitates, when a smallmouth goes down to a crayfish, it tries to swim away. So it scoot, scoot, and then it starts to crawl. And so if you imitate that closely, generally you can trigger a pretty good reaction bite from the bass that you're chasing. Now, another good way to fish a tube is also to swim it. So if you're trying to mimic a bait fish in the area that you're in, you can cast out and you lift your rod tip up and you just continuously reel and twitch. So what that does, it just keeps that tube up off the bottom and gives it a nice little swimming action like this. A lot of times when you're doing that, you'll imitate a bait fish really well, or a little bluegill or some sort of forage in that lake, and those fish will crush the tube extremely hard when you swim it. Make sure you pay attention to what the fish are doing and what they're feeding on. If they want it moving, go ahead and swim it. And if they want it low and slow, go ahead and do that side drag. All right, guys, so I'm hoping I can catch one on this. I've caught one on a drop shot tube. I've caught one on a Carolina rig. Now I'm gonna start dragging around just regular tube jig head. I'm gonna try that twitch and see if we can go ahead and get a fish hooked up here. We're kind of like just fishing some isolated rock piles out in the lake here. So it shouldn't be too tough to find a fish out here. Pre-spawn, it's pretty typical stuff here in the Midwest. But that twitch and that crawl is usually pretty deadly. There's one. Yep. That twitch crawl, guys, with that tube. Ooh, this one's heavy. Or at least it feels heavy. Dang, that rod is doubled over. I love the 6'8" serpent, guys. Oh yeah, they love that twitch crawl. I'm telling you, with that tube, if you can find a rock pile in the springtime with a tube like that, it is absolutely fire. Pre-spawn here in the Midwest, guys, chasing big, beautiful smallmouth, showing you some tips and tricks with tube fishing, how you can put more fish in the boat. Wow, that was a bomb cast. He hit, basically hit, it was like my, yes, it was like my second twitch and he was on. There we go, there it comes.
Coming up.
Yep. It's a nice smallie.
Oh yeah.
Not quite as big as the other two, but still a good one. I may be able to swing this one. That's all right, we'll net it. Oh, yeah, we'll get her in the net. I thought about swinging it, but then I was like, I'll probably end up breaking my line. That's not a bad one at all. I love the color in here. They're such a golden color. Nice red eye. That green pumpkin copper tube, guys. Just a regular, oh, it was like double hooked. Just a regular tube jig and doing that twitch crawl. I don't think we're gonna weigh this one. This one definitely isn't bigger than the last two. We're just gonna go ahead and get this one back in the water right away here. Beautiful fish. There it goes. Back to the depths, baby. Another great tip when using tubes is to put them on a Carolina rig. A Carolina rig is a classic rig for chasing bass, but a lot of people don't realize that you can put a tube in there. Now, another great trick, I don't have any with me today, but another great trick is to open up the bottom of this tube, and you can actually take an earplug, which is made of foam, you can roll it up, stick it in the tube, and it will cause that tube to float up behind that Carolina rig. So what's happening is your bullet weight here is going to be riding on the bottom of the lake, and then your tube is going to be floating up behind it. Now, when fish are post-spawn or even pre-spawn and they're kind of lethargic, that floating tube can get a whole lot of bites. So when you're using a Carolina rig, what I like to use is either 1/0 or a 2/0 EWG, depending on the size of the tube you're using. And you're just going to do a Texas rig, and you're going to make it weedless. So you're going to poke through the tip of the tube, come in about 1/4 of an inch, slide the tube up the hook, up over the eyelet, and then all you're going to do is take that tube body and you're going to bend it back against that hook and just poke it through. And then what you've got here is a weedless rigged tube that's going to ride perfectly on a Carolina rig. So guys, I just switched over to the Carolina rig. Basically, we're fishing wood. We realize that the smallmouth are actually on wood right now. They're not on rock at all, which is not untypical during this time of the year. When they move shallow, they look around for wood. So I started using this Carolina rig because it allows me to work this tube and drag it through a lot of these brush piles and things like that. So we're gonna try this. It should be pretty effective. It should come through nice and clean, and hopefully we can pick up a smallie on the Carolina rig here. You don't hear a whole lot about dragging a Carolina rig for smallies. I think a lot of guys just assume, oh, there's a fish. Yep, fish on the Carolina rig, guys. Just like I said, we're dragging through timber, and this fish just smoked my tube. It was such an awkward hook set. Yeah, let's grab the net, Trav. It was such an awkward hook set because I was like dragging right next to the boat. But yeah, Carolina rig for smallmouth, guys. When you're in wood and you want to keep that tube and that's what they're hitting, all you got to do is switch to a Carolina rig and it'll keep that tube out of that wood. Feels pretty heavy. It's like right under the boat. Come on, there it is. There we go. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Oh, look at the gold colors on that one. Great. Look at that. You can tell that one's fresh out of the deep water. Beautiful gold colors. Using a green pumpkin copper tube. Yeah, I think we'll get a weight on that one too. I bet you it's probably a little over 3, I'd bet at least.
I'm gonna guess 3.6.
3.6 is what Trav guesses. I'm gonna say 3.3. Oh, if we can get the hook out. All right, let's take a look. What does she weigh? Nice chunky fish, big belly on her, nice pre-spawner. All right, let's go ahead and get her clipped on. And let's go ahead and get a weight. Let's see what we got here. Calm down there, girl. Calm down. 3.76. Trav, you were definitely the closest. 3.76, almost 4 pounds. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and get that one back in the water. Another beautiful fish. You can see now, guys, I'm definitely in deeper water now. We realized that some of these fish were kind of sitting on this wood. They're just a little bit deeper, and we figure, you know, we'll find some pre-spawners kind of hanging around there. Beautiful, beautiful smallie. There she goes. Another great technique for chasing spring bass with tubes is using it on a drop shot. A lot of people don't think about tubes when drop shotting, but when you drop shot a tube, those tentacles can really entice bass that are finicky to bite. Now, rigging a tube is pretty easy on a drop shot. All you do is take a number 2 drop shot hook, whatever weight that you want to use for the area that you're fishing. I'm fishing a lot of rock, so I have a ball weight down at the end, and you're just going to go about 1/4 of an inch in, pinch the tube, and you're just going to poke that number 2 drop shot hook right through there. So when you're drop shotting, it's going to sit out like this, and those tentacles are going to drive the bass wild. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to eat a drop shot today. Oh, you missed one?
I think so.
Dang. Oh, there's one.
Got one?
Yep. Fish on.
Back.
Guys, feels pretty. Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, that's a nice smallie. So guys, right now I'm drop shotting a tube. We just talked a little bit earlier, guys, about how effective this can be. We're basically casting to cruising fish right now because they're not spawning yet. They're kind of just cruising the shallows. And a lot of people only fish a drop shot in deep water, but actually a drop shot is a super duper effective bait in really shallow water. I'm bringing it around on this side. Beautiful smallmouth. Look at the color on that fish. All right, let's go ahead and get her in the net, baby. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys, check out this smallmouth. This is solid, probably, I bet it's 3.5 pounds. Maybe actually with that belly on it, it's probably closer to 4 pounds.
Get a weight on it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's get a weight on this fish, see what it weighs. Right in the tip of the snoot, exactly where it's supposed to be with a drop shot, baby. Big old belly on that fish. Oh, guys, we have friends. There's our friends. They're here to mess up our audio. All right, let's go ahead and get a weight on this fish, Trav. Let's see what she weighs. Nice, big, chunky, pre-spawn smallmouth. All right, let's see what we got here, guys.
I'm guessing three something.
4.23, 4.27. That is a nice pre-spawn smallie right there, guys. Absolute tank.
Very chunky.
Yes, just cruising the shorelines, and saw her, and actually it was kind of like a sight fishing deal. I saw her and then she disappeared, and then boom, she was there. So I actually thought that she wasn't even going to be there anymore. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna also get this fish released. All right, let's go ahead, get this beautiful smallmouth back in the water. You guys can see here we're fishing super clear water, so that drop shot in the shallows is really a deadly bait, especially with that tube on it. Imitates a crayfish extremely effectively. Whenever you're ready, mama. There she goes, guys. Back to go spawn. Well, guys, that is a wrap for today's video. I hope you learned some things about how you can catch more bass in the springtime and using some tips and tricks with tubes. Tubes are super deadly, super effective, and I think a lot of times they're underutilized. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you liked the video. Let me know if there's any other topics you want me to cover when it comes to spring bass fishing. We will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Head on over, check us out on Instagram, and hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you on the water next time.